Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this webinar. If I know there are people struggling to log into the platform, but due to network problems, that's why I put on recording. Of course, if you don't object, my name is Laban Mwansa, Dr. Laban Mwansa. As you can see on the screen, I just want to double check and confirm whether you can see my screen, which I've shared. Or you can give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Great. And I'm going to have a talk today, which is hybrid in the sense that it's going to be, I will run some slides and then I will explain some of the certifications, PMI certifications and eligibility criteria, which is a requirement for candidates to obtain these prestigious international credentials. So I will first start with, though I don't believe in top-down, I'll start with the highest certification, which is the program management. And then I would drill down to PMP. And then last but not the least, I will speak about CAPM. And I think at the moment, I can introduce myself as Laban Mwansa. I have a doctorate in computer engineering, and I've been doing projects for the past 15 years, both in South Africa, Zambia, and in Europe. And I'm based at the moment in Europe, but I'm director for Betaways. Betaways is a company in Zambia, situated in Zambia, but now we have Betaways International. In Zambia, Betaways is like 13 years old, since 2012. Yeah. So we survived the environment as well as the COVID 2019, where we were running projects. Some projects were hit by the COVID, but we survived the COVID pandemic. And I'm behind the company Betaways, and the vision is to propagate, be the leader in best practice vis-a-vis project management, program management, and best practices. And this is, you allow me to start engaging now in terms of, I wanted to speak a little bit more on program management because it is the most confused terminology in terms of understanding. People are calling programs projects, and people are calling projects programs, and people are calling also tasks. When there's a task, people are calling it it's a project, and some people are calling it a program. So there's all that mix-up, confusion. That's why I really wanted to, from my heart, to allay this confusion in terms of what is program, what is a program, vis-a-vis what's a project, and what is a task, and how you can get certification in terms of credentials, where you can be recognized internationally, like you are certified and qualified to perform the duties and responsibilities required on these credentials. So, having said that, introduce myself, I would quickly run into why the PgMP credential matters, because this one is the highest in terms of credentials. You've heard about projects, you've heard about programs, and now you've heard about portfolios. Now, the interesting part is we must find our way to navigate through this ladder. I would say that the highest credential you can have in terms of program, project, portfolio, or let me say portfolio, program, project, navigation. The highest you can get probably is PgMP, which stands for Program Management Profession. Okay. Now, this is recognized globally by PMI as the gold standard in program management. I know the British spelling of program is double M-E at the end, but this is American spelling of program is one M. Like you will see this this credential is given by PMI, which is the Program Management Project Management Institute in America, USA. And I would say, just to preempt some of the questions, I would say PMI is a standard in America, and then we have in Europe and Britain, we have Prince 2 as a standard for project methodology. So for astonishingly, maybe I can use that word, astonishingly, being a PgMP, there is no requirement for you to be a PMP. I will speak about the PMP later on, but the fact that you need to do a self-assessment yourself, where you're working, what is your individual experience, that's very important, because the PMI is stating all over that they are not after the money that they give you the certification. They are after your credentials, meaning that they look at your experience in projects and programs, and that has got a lot to tell on how you excel in this career. Because when you get PgMP, there is no requirement for you to be a PMP, but the prerequisites indicate that you must be running multiple projects. Okay, if you are running multiple projects which are interdependent, like we say that, what's a program? It's a dossier of related projects. A dossier of related projects can be run as a it can be run as a program. So this actually makes you and differentiates you from the rest, because now it demonstrates advanced experience and leadership, because you talking at strategic level. I can tell you one secret. Actually, it's not a secret. Every CEO, terms of reference is to deliver strategic plan. And when you talk about program management profession, you speak to the strategic plan of the organization. And believe me, every organization has got a strategic plan. And that's where PgMP comes in, because it directly speaks to the strategic plan of the organization in which you are engaged in, and it opens doors to executive roles and large-scale project leadership, because you're looking at holistically how to align projects to speak to the strategic plan of the organization. So PgMP holders are among the top 5% of PMI certified professionals, okay? And these are like in numbers. I don't think they're in millions, maybe in thousands across the world in PgMP, because it actually helps to implement strategic plans for the organizations, because you need to align. All projects must speak to programs, and programs must speak to strategic plans. Strategic plans, strategic objectives can be implemented through PgMP. And this is where your credentials come in terms of expertise, risk management, alignment, and governance. In terms of governance, this is where it comes in. And for career perspectives, you can count on PgMP because then you are placed, it's actually at senior level. This certification, if you're a project manager, you ask me, hey, I'm a project manager, I've done PMP, what next? I would tell you, go for PgMP. I've done PgMP, what next? Go for portfolio. And for portfolio management, then you can start talking about center of excellence as probably director of projects in that sense. So this is a little bit about PgMP. So we've agreed from the onset, PgMP is different from PMP. I'll speak about PMP later on. So having spoken about PgMP, now I'm talking about why pursue PgMP certification. I would say PgMP is the unsung song. Everybody speaks about projects, but then if you speak to people, I'm being very honest and frank. If you just open news, you see people talking about programs and talking about projects and interchanging. Oh, this program was started in two years ago. Actually, this project is delayed. Now there's a confusion there. Are we talking about a project or are we talking about a program? And this is evident. I think maybe you will notice that. I personally have noticed that there is a lot of confusion between what is a program and what is a project. Well, this certification, PgMP, is, like I mentioned, unsung song, recognized globally. It's a premium credential. You can, I think the people having these credentials are in thousands across all over the world. It validates your ability to lead and manage complex multi-project programs. Okay, because you can have a program which has got a subsidiary program. You can also have projects, though it's typically not possible to have a project under a project. I haven't seen that. You can educate me if you've seen a project under a project. Normally we call them work streams under projects. Then we can have programs, sub-programs under programs, just like we can have sub-portfolios under portfolios. But it enhances career prospects and opens executive level opportunities. Okay, this is not rocket science, because when you're dealing with a program, you are closer to the strategic plan. And when you are closer to the strategic plan, it means that your career prospects are opened at executive level, because you are dealing with program implementation and realization of benefits at that level, aggregated benefits. Let me put it that way. It boosts earning potential and marketability, because what this credential does is it opens you doors, career doors, and also it positions you to speak to fellow networks, fellow certified professionals with confidence. So strengthens skills in strategic alignment, governance, and stakeholder engagement. Connects you to a global network of elite program managers. We're speaking about program managers, not project managers. So this is an advanced skill. Like we mentioned that if we say PMP, is the PhD of project manager. The program management is the professor. If you like me to make it in that way of program management. So this is one of the slides which is highlighting that. So what are the domains? When we deliver program management, like at Better Ways, we look at the domains. These are the domains which we cover during the boot camp. We call it the boot camp because it prepares you for the credential exam, which the exam is actually 4 hours. You're talking about 170 questions, 4 hours. Maybe there's a slide speaking to that. And we look at strategic program management, program lifecycle management, benefits management, the life cycle of benefits, stakeholder management, and governance. Very key that we initiate governance of a program until closure of a program. Just like we have closure for projects, we also have closure for programs. So these are the domains which we deep dive during the bootcamp to ensure that you have consistent and deep knowledge to enable you to pass the exam of the PgMP, prestigious PgMP. And this certification is, I would say, it's a career booster because it opens a lot of doors for you in your profession, and also your organization will benefit in the sense that you start understanding holistically how the organization can initiate programs and realize benefits. This is designed for leaders like you, senior project managers and program managers. Okay, this is designed for senior project managers and program managers, also portfolio managers, directors of projects, stroke operations, though I can put inverted commas on operations, because what we say is run the business and change the business. And projects, programs are vehicles we use to change the business. So government and corporate leaders managing multiple initiatives, because what it means is if you do your self-assessment and you know that you are running projects which are speaking to each other. For example, the output from one project becomes an input to another project, and you are in charge of making sure that the outcomes are coherent, consistent, and also you are managing what we call aggregated risks. A number of times people are asking me, why run programs? Why not just projects? This is a question which is important, because when you're running projects, of course, every project has got risk. You can manage risks for projects, you're managing risks. And yes, that's fine. But when you're running a program, it's a little bit different, because you're looking at aggregated risks. You're looking at resourcing. For example, if you're running an ERP, you look at resources. Look, your components, projects. You 5 projects. One project is looking at travel, another financial, another looking at procurement. So you have a number of projects, and you have project managers reporting to you, and your task will be to have aggregated risks. You have to have kind of aggregated resource planning for all the components, which we actually will be work streams or projects, which you can better assign, leverage resources when you have a bigger picture of related projects to manage in terms of resourcing, risk management, and also aggregated benefits from the projects at that level. Then you are speaking with alignment of all the projects strategically to the strategic plan of your organization. So this manifests itself as an opportunity where you can say that if one project is too risky, then you can have mitigation plans actually spread across all projects. For example, this project is behind schedule, so let's realign resources. You have kind of a helicopter view of all the projects which are related and delivering outcomes into your portfolio. So this kind of knowledge needs a lot of best practice in terms of governance. What would be the governance look like? What would be the health checks look like? What would be the program plan look like? What would be the benefits register look like? What would be the benefits roadmap look like into the program? And this is a lot of people asking me, why a program? Why don't you just run projects? But then for program, we have a roadmap, which we institute, a roadmap even for when benefits will trickle in the organization. We have a roadmap for that. And we have kind of projects which belong to programs, and these projects can be managed like waves. So we know when the project is starting, when it's ending, and when the benefits will start trickling into the organization. It's not rocket science. If a project is not delivering benefits, then we must stop the project. That's very simple. Because if the the risks are more than the benefits, then why continue the project? But we need people to sit in that office who are certified program managers and who have a bird's eye helicopter view of all projects which are interrelated because of interdependencies, risk management, benefit realization, and also to account for KPIs which have been realized in projects. And this is why this goes with also maturity of project management in the organization. You could go for projects, yes. You can have a PMO. What type of PMO? Project management office, program management office, or portfolio management office, or center of excellence. So you have to decide the maturity levels, maturity assessments. Of course, people are saying you cannot assess yourself. You cannot kind of cook a dish and say you test it and oh wow, it's nice. So we need an assessment. You of course you can do health checks. There's like we call also in program management, there's what we call health checks, health check meetings. For example, a milestone is looming. Next week is a milestone. It's a gate review, and then you can schedule a health check meeting with stakeholders just to see where we are, so that we have no surprises, shocks during the gate review of the milestone delivery. This is acceptable, ladies and gentlemen, to do health checks. But again, we need to have best practice where we do self-assessment. And sometimes here in Europe, where I'm sitting, it's very common for companies to approach you that where are we? We are using Prince 2 or we are using the PMBOK. Can you assess where you are? Because it's practically very difficult to assess yourself where you are. What needs to be done? Do you need an improvement plan or continuous improvement? And you want to have a kind of health check. Do you do health checks in your projects, in your programs, so that come the D-Day, come the gate review, where you review the milestones, what has been achieved, and whether invoices can be processed, and whether there is value delivered to stakeholders. And believe me, stakeholders will be very frank whether value has been delivered or not. And for portfolio managers, directors of projects, program managers, actually, a program manager is actually a senior project manager. I've seen in a number of organizations, they are not using the term program manager, they're using senior project manager. It's actually, if you're a senior project manager, you're actually equivalent to a program manager. If project managers report to you because you do consolidated plans, consolidated delivery plans in terms of components for a component, I would call projects like components of a program, if you want to make it like that, right? Also, for project managers, they would say, look, I'm a project manager. What next? Well, if you're a project manager, then you have to work hard to become a senior project manager who is actually equivalent to a program manager. And from program manager, then you can aspire to be director of projects. That's maybe not to have confusion. We have PMO, okay? PMO, a lot of people associate it to project management office, but you can have also a program management office, also a portfolio management office. What next? Center of excellence, director, executive for the center of excellence must report to CEO of the organization, because practically it's not possible for head of projects to report to operations, because operations, you run the business, and projects, programs, portfolios change the business. Why? Because we need to address the strategic plan objectives. And that's why we have portfolio, program, and projects. So having said that, we drive strategic transformation. We align projects, programs, we align with organizational strategy. You can, I think, agree with me that all CEOs, in the terms of reference, organizations with organizational culture, all CEOs are tasked with achieving the strategic plan. And this is why you see CEOs, senior directors, they go for retreats. When they go for a retreat, normally they will advance and prepare a strategic plan for 3 to 5 years. Strategic plan. 3 to 5 years, strategic plan. This plan is tasked as one of the KPIs for Chief Executive Officer, CEOs. And to achieve a strategic plan, you need a mechanism, vehicles. That's why we say, like, projects are vehicles. Projects, Programs are vehicles to introduce change. Why do we need change? We need change so that we can realize and deliver a strategic plan, okay, for the organization. And if you look at the banks, are using a lot of portfolio. As portfolio is an investment, and then you align programs with organizational strategy. A simple question you would ask me: why use programs? Why not just have projects? Because we need to spread the risks. If a portfolio is like $5 million, then it will be strange to have a project budget of $10 million. Of course, you can do that, but that's strange. Because $10 million is not small money, it's a lot of money, right? So I would propose to run a program with several projects, and this because then you've got to have a grip on risks. What can go wrong in each of the projects? And these projects will be led by project managers. There is a conflict there, because when I say led, most of the adverts now, you see people are saying, we need a project leader. Now people are asking, what's the difference, a project leader or a project manager? Well, that's another probably a big topic, if you ask me, because when we say a project leader, we looking at someone who can lead by servant leadership rather than managing people. People, especially in agile, agile project management, people are preferring to be led rather than to be managed. I don't know. It's up to you to tell me whether you are managed or you are led. But I would tell you, as far as PMP is concerned, at project level, when we talk of a fully accomplished project manager should lead a project, an agile project, as well as a waterfall predictive project or hybrid project. Okay, so these projects nowadays, from my experience, and projects nowadays they require servant leadership, and of course the question is, why do we still maintain the title project manager? I think it's just a matter of time. The best would be a change maker, because projects are vehicles we use to introduce change. Also, we can say that people side of projects require leadership rather than management. What's the difference? Of course, it's like by Friday, give me a report. You are managing people. Leading people would be like, when do you think I can have the report? Oh, okay, I can do it by tomorrow. So leading and management is a bit different. And I think, in my opinion, sooner or later, we will see the term project manager changing to project leader. A project leader. We're looking for a project leader, not a manager, because most people would not agree to be managed. They want to be led, especially agile project teams. They prefer to be led rather than to be managed. But then if you look beyond projects, then you see strategic transformation. And that's at senior level. Of course, when you become a project manager, you're going to give me a phone call. What next? Laban, I'm already a project manager for so many years. What should I do next? My answer is, you need to drive strategic transformation and become a program leader. Okay? deliver business outcomes, not just project outputs. This is an interesting point, number 2. Deliver business outcomes, not just project outputs. What this means is, what this means is that if your project is to deliver a clinic, that clinic you've built as an output becomes an output, not really an outcome. But if immunization levels better in the community, people are more healthier in the community, then you've delivered an outcome. And this is why you've seen even PMP, they've streamlined the syllabus for PMP. At project level, it's streamlined now. It's speaking to value that as a project manager, you must also be consistent to value delivery rather than just an output. 3, effectively manage interdependencies and risks. This is very important because, for example, the recruitment of nurses, doctors, if you're building a clinic, cannot commence because the clinic is not finished. So you in the project, you have these interdependencies. At program level, then we can do resourcing. Most project managers do resourcing, attend resourcing meetings, where project managers are kind of advancing their requirements in terms of resources, because we cannot keep resources on what we call workbench. A workbench is where you have people on the bench because there's no work. For example, we can't work because the materials haven't arrived. And what is happening there is that you are wasting resources because of poor planning, obviously. Enable enterprise-wide change, and this is at strategic transformation, where everyone in the organization must ask yourself, what value do I contribute to the organization? It starts at individual level before it goes and affects the culture. Let me say the people, because every organization, believe me or not, has got a culture. You could be in the same, for example, in the same sector, but every organization has got a different culture. So it's about individuals, and collectively you forming the organization, and enterprise change, mindset, especially mindset change for new ways of working. But we need champions, people to speak about this all the time, to champion the new ways of working, to deliver value. So the full PMI, PgMP, talent triangle is helping you to maintain your certifications. Because if you get PMP, if you get CAPM, PMP, PGMP, it's not over yet. You need to maintain the certification. There's a life cycle, okay? Just like a program has got a life cycle, initiation to closure. I can even allude to projects. Even projects are supposed to be components of a program. They've got also projects got also a life cycle, just like a product. But you can say a project can have many products. That's typical. Okay? But life cycle means that we have closed the project and now we have post project, just like we can have program life cycle, initiation to closure. Then we have what we call sustenance, sustaining the benefits. Just like I can give you a typical example in South Africa when we have the 2010 World Cup, soccer, football World Cup. Believe me, in South Africa, they're still reaping the benefits of the 2010 Soccer World Cup. But the project managers are gone. They've delivered and they're gone. The program lifecycle is closed. And what we have for an example in South Africa, the soccer football World Cup, which was held in South Africa in 2010. And now that program is closed. What is happening now is beneficiation, tracking of benefits. I hope they do track the benefits and assign them to different programs and assign them to different programs and different projects. So this is a typical practical example because South Africa, of course, is not very far from Zambia. And if you ask me how the program, capital infrastructure program can be, because then what follows after closure is sustenance. And this is why, as a program leader, you need to have a sustenance plan. As a project leader, you need to have a benefits realization plan. Post-project, because I see most projects, people are calling project managers. Who was the project manager here? Why are we failing to do this, to realize this and that? It means something somewhere did not go well, because when you are project managing, you need to ensure that there is a plan post project, which actually is included in, for projects, we have what we call benefits realization plan. For programs, we have sustenance plan, our benefits sustenance plan, how to sustain. Because once you deliver the project, the program, the benefits, they go to operations and maintenance. And operations and maintenance normally need knowledge transfer, training, and also how to maintain the benefits, post-program benefits, post-project benefits. Of course, the program will take care of. For project managers, the program takes care of the benefits. And for program managers or senior project managers, then portfolio takes care of the benefits. Because when you close a program, then you're not there. You've closed. Probably you invite the team for a barbecue to celebrate closure, right? And you look forward to the next program. And it will be unusual that you've closed the program, you've closed the project, and then you are called back that who was the program manager, who was the project manager, this here, can you call the project manager back? Of course, these things are happening in reality. And this is why we need best practice, because look, you've closed. What does closure mean? You've closed. It's bye-bye. See you later. You go on another program, okay? And the being called back, it means something really was amiss. Stakeholder engagement and governance. Most programs, I'm sure you've heard, most programs fail because of poor governance. And this is your job as the program leader, to make sure that there is a governance structure in place. When you formulate, you plan the program, and then you must make sure that these structures are in place before initiating a program. And this is why we are emphasizing on program managers a little bit more, because look, from my experience in industry, most project managers, they given there's allocation and utilization. I've worked in, I think the maximum I've done it was 4 projects at the same time. What does that mean? It means that a day is 8 hours, and if you are running 4 projects, that's your allocation. Then there's utilization. It means you have to spend, for example, 2 hours per project. And if a project is in Agile, it means you need to have stand-up meetings every day. A project which is 9 months, right? It means you must meet the team every day for stand-up meeting for 9 months. And I remember one time I had 6 stand-up meetings in the morning because I was running Agile projects. And you need to respect the Agile ceremonies on those projects. And then in the afternoon, you do project management responsibilities. Now, if you are running, my thought was, if you are running 3 to 4 projects at the same time, then essentially, for some time, you would qualify to be a senior project manager. And if you qualify to be a senior project manager, then you will be, by best practice, a program manager. It means project managers report to you. Now, when it comes to governance, as a senior project manager, then there must be best practice of, in terms of, as much as we've got a steering committee for projects, you as a senior project manager, you become the sponsor. I don't know whether it's making sense to you, but as a program manager, you sponsor your projects. In Prince 2, we call this a project board. That's the steering committee, and the executive of the project board is what we call the sponsor. And if you are a sponsor, let me say, if you're a project manager, program manager, then you automatically become the sponsor of your projects. It makes sense because program is a little bit higher than project. Okay, so that's the governance I'm trying to speak about. So at program level, you've got a steering committee. At project level, you've got a steering committee. So benefits realization and program value delivery. This must be monitored because some benefits will start trickling in even before the program closes. And just like some projects will deliver outputs and outcomes before the program closes. So these are objectives. We dive into this, and not really astonishingly. What word can I use in English? Amazingly. Okay, I would say amazingly. Project management, PMP, is not a prerequisite to become a program manager. I think that's food for thought for you if you come to think about it. If you look at these learning objectives, because program management is a little bit senior. Okay, you're looking at things more tied to the strategic realization of the organization rather than nitty-gritties into projects. But of course, if you've got project experience, it's much easier to be a program leader. But you see, UNESCO, UNDP, EU, all these international funders, they are looking for program managers because they know that, an investment of 15 million, 1 billion euros is a lot of money. You cannot run a project on that colossal kind of money. You need to have a program in place. And when you have a program, then you need governance. And you need somebody who's using best practice to run a program rather than a project. So this one is a 5-day intensive instructor-led program. I'll be running this one in Lusaka this month. I'll be running a program management course with case studies, simulations, and group exercises. Because this is PMI authorized, which means that you're going to get PDUs. Just like from this webinar, you can claim 2 PDUs. Yeah, if you are maintaining. This one thing I didn't mention. When you get certified by PMI, it's not over. You need to maintain the certification. Maintaining the certification means that you need to be fresh. You need to be fresh with the profession. You need to give talk. When I do run projects in organizations, we do maybe every Friday 1 hour knowledge sharing. Because a lot of projects and programs are producing a lot of knowledge, and a lot of people are getting experience through projects. So projects generate knowledge, and we need to capture that knowledge. And that is it's upon you as a project manager, as a program manager, to capture that knowledge. Because in project management, we don't allow repeated mistakes. Okay? So this is why we're doing this training bootcamp, which I'll be running in Lusaka starting 23rd June, a PgMP, to prepare candidates to be ready for the exam. The exam is rigorous. It's 4 hours exam. You can take a break, but if you take a break, it means that you cannot review the questions which you've answered. Some people take 10 minutes break, coffee break, because 4 hours is a little bit too much. So you need speed and you need knowledge. There are questions which you can do for 5 seconds, you know the answer. But there are some questions, especially that English is not, we are not native British or native American. So we need to read the question maybe twice, 2 times. So this time is spent 170 questions for 4 hours. And for PgMP, the exam is online. Okay. So this was done in ignore about that Kampala, but the learning and leadership. So this was just for senior leaders in the region to acquaint yourself with addressing the strategic plan, like I mentioned before. Learn from the best. If I lead a PgMP, it means that I've gone through that PgMP certification experience. And it's a nice experience, of course, when you submit your exam and then you see congratulations. You appreciate the experience as a journey, because even if you get the certification, it's just the beginning, because you need to maintain the certification. After 3 years, the certification expires. It's not like a degree. The degree is for life. These certifications are normally 3 years. They expire. And for our delivery, I've got experience across Europe and Africa. I've delivered projects and programs in Europe, especially during the COVID. We are challenged by COVID, and it was pleasing to deliver remotely ITSM projects in America, where you've got developers in India, and I'm based in Europe, and the client is in America. Well, that was fun. That was fun. So, testimonials, of course, earning potential is high when you are certified individually. Your organization benefits as well as yourself. You benefit because you are certified. Of course, you get less questions in the interview because people know you are PMP and you are PgMP. You are certified. Okay? What you get, 40 hours of expert training. Actually, it's 35 hours. But what we do as Betaways on our training program is we do help the delegates with the application. Because PMI doesn't want just your money. They want you to see that you've got the prerequisites. For example, you've got a first degree and you've got experience. It's not just you just go and say, I will read and I'll go and sit. No, you need to have what we call eligibility. You need to be eligible to sit for the exam. And this is what we help. That's why you can see 40 hours of expert training, but normally you claim 35 hours, but we do help. And we get, as a premium ATP, that's the accredited training partner with PMI. We've got approved course materials for PMP, certificate of completion. You can use that. You were given that at the end of the training bootcamp. You get a certificate of completion with the logo of PMI, because Betterways is approved training center partner for PMI. Yeah. And this is also PgMP is a little bit tricky, different from PMP, because PgMP requires you to go through two review. First is a panel reviewers. You establish your portfolio experience of managing several projects, and this is sent to a panel reviewers. The panel reviews, and if they think that you are ready for the exam, then that's step one. And then step two is to document your experience, and if that is approved, then you can go and pay for the exam. And once you pay for the exam, you sit for the exam, you go, of course, through approved training, mentorship, and then networking, lunch, and refreshment. This is provided during the bootcamp. Okay, that's the registration information. Now we look forward to welcoming you, because we're going to do some bootcamps in Lusaka for aspiring PMPAs, aspiring PgMP program managers, and also not to underrate, we can also give you the CAPM. Let me talk about CAPM. CAPM is foundation for PMP. A lot of people are saying, I need PMP. I need PMP. Yes, PMP is golden, is good, but you introspect, you look at your experience, and if you want to climb the ladder to trade carefully, you would go for a CAPM, especially if you don't have a first degree, because PMI doesn't care what degree you've got, whether it's medicine, pharmacy, a degree in public health, degree, it doesn't care. As long as you've got a first degree, then you can qualify as a prerequisite. If you've got a certificate or diploma, then you need more hours of experience in projects. Okay? And I know for PMP, you need, if you've got a first degree for PMP, you need 4,500 hours in the last 36 months, in the last 3 years. If you don't have a first degree, you need 7,500 hours of experience. And they do audit. You can be audited anytime. It's nothing. There's nothing to be afraid of, because if you are audited by PMI, the reason is that they just want to know you better. So you just need to have some referees. People can vouch for you that, yes, I know this person and worked on the project. You led the project. And the only thing is they don't want you to count the project twice. For example, if you are running two projects at the same time, you should not count them both. You count only one project. when you report your project portfolio to PMI. And if you are doing foundation, which is CAPM, then you don't worry about prerequisites because it's a foundation. If you have a certificate, if you have a degree with limited project experience, you can start with CAPM, then PMP, then PgMP. Of course, after PgMP, you can go for portfolio manager, and that's it. Then you can be director of projects by qualification. Of course, it's coupled with your individual performance, but it tremendously help when you are certified internationally, like with PMI. I want to leave some time for QA, question and answer, so that any areas which I have not covered, I will have an opportunity to address it. And you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask me a question on your mind regarding the PMI certifications. So at this point in time, I can invite questions from the audience. You can either put in the chat or you can just unmute yourself and fire me a question. This is the time we're remaining with for question and answer. Please feel free to ask me questions.
Good evening, Doc. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You said after 3 years the certificate expires. What happens afterwards? Do I rewrite for an exam or I have to upgrade it? Thank you.
A very good question. After your certificate expires, you are not in good standing. And I've seen situations where you get an opportunity, for example, for a very lucrative career opportunity, then they check your credentials that your certificate has expired. So to mitigate that, you need to log your PDUs. For example, from this session, you can claim it's 2 hours. 1 PDU is equal to 1 hour. So we've spent 2 hours, you can claim 2 PDUs from PMI. And over a period of 3 years, you need 60 PDUs in order to renew your certificate. So if you show that, for example, you do a presentation at work, you can log in the PDU. You do a webinar like this one, I would claim 2 hours. I'll claim 3 for preparation, 1 hour, and 2 for presenting. If you read a book on project management, you can report that you have read a book or an article, how long it took you to read, and what article, who wrote the article. You can claim a PDU. The thing is, over 3 years, you need 60 PDUs in order to qualify to renew. Otherwise, you need to sit for the exam again, and believe me, no one wants to go and sit the exam again. After 3 years, you need to just maintain the certification. Like you attend a webinar, you go for a conference on project management, you give a talk at work, you claim. Because PMI they've got the right to verify what you are claiming. They can write to the organization, is it true that Anthony presented a paper on this conference? You know, they can investigate at random, just like they do random audit of your certification, and they would want referees for that. So coming to your question, you can maintain the certification. You get 60 PDUs over a period of 3 years, and 1 PDU is equal to 1 hour you spend on the profession. So the idea is to ensure that you are current. You haven't lost touch with the profession. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question, Anthony. I've got good evening. There is a mess. There is a
Evening,
okay.
Doc.
There is a question here. Is it self-study bootcamp, then writing the exam? Bootcamp we do. Bootcamp we do as Betterways. We do bootcamps for PMP and PgMP. When we do a bootcamp, then we help you to apply for eligibility. If you can also do self-study, but then self-study is high risk. You can do self-study, you pay money for the exam, and then you may fail. The chances of failing are very high because during boot camp, we discuss tips, tricks, and tips, how to answer questions, and we cover the official courseware, and we help you to apply for eligibility. Eligibility lasts for 1 year. Then you get eligibility certificate, then you have 3 attempts for the year. If 3 attempts you haven't passed, then you have to wait for another year to do the exam. And this is why people would prefer to go for an official partner like Betterways officially, because we've got official courseware and official expert trainers to guide you. Because what we do is after the training, we give you tutorials also, just to help you. After boot camp, we advise within 3 months to do the exam. We give you simulated questions. We help you all the way until you are. The pass mark is not advertised. The pass mark is not, but if you are getting like over 75%, we suspect it's 80%. Pass mark is very high. As the 60 PDU applied to the Prince 2 certification? Yes, Prince 2 is a UK standard, and CAPM, PMP, PGMP is American standard. But from my knowledge, because I'm also Prince 2 certified, even Prince 2 is 60 PDUs. And the goodness is you can, if you have PMP, you get exemption from Prince 2 for foundation only. And if you've given a talk on Prince 2, you can also claim for PMI, because it's all about project management. What about CAPM? Is there a bootcamp for it as well? Yes, we do bootcamp. Or does it self-online learning, YouTube, short courses, learning from PMBOK? You can do these learnings, but again, there are so many learnings on YouTube that it gets one confused. Kind of too much resources. It's not good. We advise you to remain focused, because this one tells you this one tells you this. In the end, you get disillusioned. So it's better you follow one accredited, approved training partner of PMI, and they initiate you into CAPM. Of course, there are people who have tried, and some people don't make it, some people make it, because our pass rate is over 80%. In terms of, if you've gone through the boot camp, it's literally difficult to fail. because we give you simulated exam questions, like 1,000 questions to go through to prepare you, the type of English they use, the type of questions they use, the scenario questions. And the goodness is the syllabus is the same. There's another question. Would you recommend pursuing PgMP right after PMP, or should one gain? No, listen, this is a good question. The PMP is not a prerequisite for PgMP. If I had the authority, I would say, look, if you look at in the government, all permanent secretaries should do PGMP. They don't need to do PMP because this is at governance level. This is at a strategic level, okay? And PMP is not a prerequisite to do PGMP. PGMP is more or less like you are speaking to the strategic plan of the organization in terms of implementing the initiatives. So project managers report to you because you've got a master plan roadmap for the program, which you're going to ensure that the program is successful. So, which means that all the PM pass. Of course, if you're a PMP, you can strive kind of on promotion. You want to be a program manager if you're a project manager, but it's not a prerequisite. Okay, it depends on what you're doing, your experience. If you are running multiple projects and these projects or work streams, what I can call work streams, they've got people running them, you can still go for PGMP. I hope I've answered your question. Cindy Malenji left. Okay. Any other questions?
Evening, Doc.
Good evening.
Okay, Samson here.
Hi,
Thanks for
Samson.
the insightful presentation. Thank you. I'm all right. Yeah, I wanted to find out something.
Yes, please.
What would be your recommendation? I'm currently PMP certified
Okay.
and PMICP, and I'm
Okay.
in good
Construction
standing.
profession. Yeah.
Yes, please. Yes. So now I wanted to hear your recommendation on should I still go step by step to PGMP or I can still skip to PFMP?
That's a good question. But PGMP is actually tougher than PFMP. And I would recommend you to go for PGMP. And then you can oil that with PFMP later on, because PFMP will come in now mostly for those who have done PGMP. PFMP, you can even do self-study. It's most of the stuff you find that PGMP covers. Though in PFMP, mostly is on performance of a portfolio. On governance, program life history, I would recommend you to do PGMP. And once you do PGMP nicely, you find PFMP a walk in the park. That's what I can say.
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. And if just to follow up, if you maybe I can send you some statistics on pass rates. Most failures are on PGMP, and most in terms of people who are certified, you find that PGMP they are less than even PMP. It's certified worldwide. on PgMP. Any other questions?
Hi, Doc. I think there are some questions in the chat. Don't know if you answered them. Maybe I missed that.
Oh, let me double check. Okay, that's Prince 2. What about CAPM? Is there a boot camp? Yes, I've answered that one. We do boot camp on CAPM, even whether if you are alone, we do coaching also. Coach you alone, but of course it's much better if you are a group because there is a discussions. Would you recommend pursuing PGMP right after PMP? Should get more experience. Of course, PMP is not a prerequisite to PGMP, which is a good because PGMP is senior. It's not middle level. PMP is management. You're a manager, right? Project manager. PGMP, you need to be at director level, at least aspiring to be director of projects or program. How relevant is PGMP certification in our local job market? Okay, I didn't see this question. Okay, how relevant is PGMP certification in our local job market or industry? This is a very good question because, look, when in our local market or industry, we have funders, okay, like EU, European Union, USAID is no longer there, but you've got something like UNDP, UN funding organizations will be very pleased to see that you've got a PGMP certification because they are giving funds like $1 million, $2 million. These funds will be better run as programs rather than projects. And if you are PGMP, then you are the right person to run donor-funded projects. You crave for them once you do PGMP because PGMP teaches you how to do a master plan, master schedule, the roadmap, and you bring in projects as waves, okay? And then you manage benefits across a dossier of projects and work streams. So this is good for donor-funded programs which they would actually snap you like that, Joe Katanga, because you will be having advanced knowledge, not just running a project. You have advanced project knowledge of running aggregated risks management, aggregated benefits realization plan, aggregated kind of schedule and roadmap of program management. So this will equip you with these techniques, which you can easily be a program leader for UN projects, UN programs, European Union funded programs. You are the right person. And when they check your credentials, even your interview will be less stressful because they know that you are certified PGMP. I hope I've answered your question, Jao. If you have a follow-up question, you feel free. Any other question? I think this is the only one. The other ones I've answered them. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure. And do reach out if you need a recording of this session. If you missed the beginning, if you need the PgMP, it's happening in Lusaka on the 23rd to 27th. And I'll be leading that training. And it will be happening in Lusaka this month. So reach out. And one more question. Yes, please. Okay. If you're interested in the recording, please reach out and I will avail you so that you listen from the beginning of our interaction. Maybe I can put in the chat my email address as well, just in case. That's my email. Please reach out. I will share the recording so that you can listen for those who joined late. And thank you very much for the interest and interesting questions you've done. And I'm always available and probably meet you on our program bootcamp, which is happening in Lusaka this month. So thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best.
Thanks and bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.